And it is about time to get down to business as we welcome our first guest. He is Jordan Kimball. You may know the name. Jordan has been in several TV shows, two most notable, Bachelor in Paradise, The Bachelorette, even on Dancing with the Stars. And guess what? He came to Houston, Texas to be a real estate professional. He's with the Collins team right here in Houston, Texas. Hey, Jordan, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Bill. It's good to be here in real Texas, talking real with you.
That's right. We see the banners. If you tune into YouTube, this is real Texas, real talk, and real estate. In fact, hey, we're on to something, Jordan.
I love it.
So let's tell people, first of all, we all grow up, we watch TV. Some of us want to be on TV, and you have been on TV quite a bit in a tremendous capacity, having a great time. So let's tell people, first of all, the first show you were on was The Bachelorette. Is that correct?
Yes, season 14.
And if someone doesn't know what that is, let's tell people a little bit about what happens on The Bachelorette.
Well, The Bachelorette is where you may be an individual walking into a mansion and joining several other people, maybe 28 other males, for a show where you're all going to try to fall in love with the leading lady.
Just one of them, right?
Just one, and it is highly competitive. However, one of the biggest questions I always get, and at first I kind of had a tough time answering it, and then when I think back on both sets of shows, I really have found the answer over time. Versus the Bachelorette versus Bachelor in Paradise, I would do the Bachelorette time and time again. There was camaraderie between some of us gentlemen, and I'm lucky to call some of them gentlemen because things get pretty rowdy on the show as far as the manufactured drama. But I did have a very good time on the Bachelorette. Bachelor in Paradise is competitive. It's war. It's love. It's a production. It's 98 degrees, sleeping outside. It is pretty strenuous, but it's funny when they produce it and they put it out for millions to view, it looks great. I do consider myself to be the retired mayor of Paradise. I had 2 runs and we had a good time, but I would certainly prefer to film The Bachelorette over Bachelor in Paradise anytime.
Well, that sounds fascinating because right away, some of the things you're talking about, mansions, great backdrops, and the spirit of competition, that's America. Competition, and certainly here in Houston, Texas, we talk about real estate. Is it competitive? Kinda, right?
That's right.
So
Yep.
Everything is competitive, and that competition brings, I think, the best out. If we have the right mindset, it can bring the best out in all of us. In a way, it's like a football game, but it's not. Pretty girls, beautiful surroundings, so totally unlike the gridiron.
Right.
But tell us a little bit more about behind the scenes, let's say, of both of those shows, because like you said, we all watch TV, and it's one way how it looks, the produced, the editing. But what's it like to be a participant?
So it's funny you talk about a football team because we could have, it's 11 on each side. We could have easily made a football team out of our season. I think it was 30 whenever it started. I watched a gentleman get eliminated right in front of my eyes in the first 2 hours of filming. It's really interesting. We film 24 hours a day, and then we interview anywhere from 4 to 6 hours. So you're getting those real-time interviews, and then you're getting the sound bites from that, and then you're getting the footage from walking around the house and interactions there. So I could be talking to someone on the couch, and they insert a sound bite from my interview, and I'm like, hey, give me that grilled cheese sandwich. But there was never a grilled cheese sandwich there, and they try to make it look like it's drama and something's happening off to the side, when really nothing happened at all. It's funny, there was a gentleman named David. He's a real estate agent in Florida, actually. Very nice guy. We've grown to be friends, but they kind of put us against each other the first night. And he was sitting next to me in a chicken costume because there's antics to night one. And here I am sharply dressed in a sharkskin suit. He's sitting next to me in a chicken suit, and I said, hey, man, you almost got feathers in my coffee, But I never actually said it to him right there. It was something I had said in an interview afterwards, and they placed it there, and, it became kind of a viral thing. It was funny how witty I became with sound bites and in person, because I can be witty in person, but it was the things that were happening in the interviews that really that's what makes the show. It's all done in the interviews. It's not even really based on the interactions that you're having with other people.
As far as being witty, in this case, in any kind of improvisational thing, you have to be witty on demand to be on TV, maybe even radio sometimes. So it's a whole mindset. I guess you get tuned into that.
Yeah, exactly. And it's fascinating to see, because there's a lot of things, with the men's tell-all right off the cuff. There's no editing really to that. They kind of show what it is. And I just boom, 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 I just quick wit. And that's kind of why I rose to the the level of people knowing me that know me is because of the wit and my antics, and I like to have fun. And then I've taken my platform afterwards on social media and shown people that just because I was on reality TV doesn't mean that I don't have real life problems or I don't have a real life, you know. And I try to tell people how I operate daily, and, you know, show them that whenever you wake up in the morning, you've got a difference on your life and you make a difference on others' lives. I think that's one of the motivating factors as to why I got into real estate. It always fascinated me to know who you are, know where you're going, and know who you're working with. That is a great slate for success.
Well, let's talk, and we want to talk about the transition to real estate. What was the attraction there? But let's also hit Dancing with the Stars. Now, people are, if they don't see the YouTube video, you're certainly a very handsome guy. Now, but you're not a dancer.
Well, thank you.
But you got on Dancing with the Stars.
I can swim, but I can't dance.
All right, so there you go. That's an accomplishment, Jordan, to be able to be on Dancing with the Stars and not be a dancer. How'd that happen?
Well, and it's totally live. The Dancing with the Stars is live. I tell people all the time, if I were to pick my nose, you would see it live TV right there. It's right there. And so that was very different for me. And so we went through about 60 hours of choreography. It was me and Grocery Store Joe with our dance partner, Jenna. And we learned a salsa. And it was really something, because I always thought you stepped out to the side with the salsa. You know, you see Ben Stiller in the movies and you think, okay, so he's stepping out to the side. And so I learned you actually step forward and backward. And it's really... It's kind of like it's in the elbows, it's in the shoulders, the hips, the ankles, the knees. Salsa is something that, I mean, you just got to dip your whole body in it and kind of like let it go. You know, you got to be like Jell-O. And so we did 60 hours of choreography. We showed up with a little
good exercise. It sounds like
it really was. Yeah, we were sliding all over the floor and jumping around and throwing Jenna up in the air. And so we arrived to the set for live filming. We've got an old car behind us. You know, we've got some grease on us. We've got white tank tops and some overalls. And we ended up earning, for 2 stars that had never danced, we ended up earning the most memorable dance of the season. What a memorable time. And, you know, to meet Joe with the Bachelor franchise and to be there with him through that, you know, these are memories that I will cherish forever. And I have made lifelong friendships from the franchise, and I'm incredibly thankful for the franchise. Of course, there's a learning curve to seeing yourself and learning how people are perceiving you and how you actually are. And all I can do with that is, you know, show up every day with a smile on and be resilient and show people that not only are there second chances, but there's always more to it than it seems from reality TV.
Indeed, there is. And somewhere along the line, you thought of real estate as you're thinking of your future. There you are in the midst of something that's very exciting. Most of us don't get to do that. Some people don't want to do that. But there you are, being seen and performing in a way, in a reality
Absolutely.
mode. But
I
still,
was certainly performing.
You're performing for sure.
Parts of it, yeah.
As we all are in certain ways every day, and whatever our role is. As a young person, you're thinking about your future. Where do I go from here? You're in your 20s at the time. And you're still in your 20s, right?
I'm 29, that's right.
Well, say goodbye to 29, but you'll hit your 30s soon. But in the meantime, in the 20s, a lot of reflection is done thinking about the future. Where did the idea of real estate even appear in your mind? And then how did that become a reality? How'd you find the Collins team?
Okay, so yeah, I'll start with I went to school for business and accounting technologies there in Central Florida. I worked really well with numbers and making sure things balanced and the managerial side of that. And I always had an interest in real estate. I thought that the transactions were so fascinating because here you have a contract and then you've got a relationship. And we've been learning relationships our entire life. You've got a relationship with everybody. Even if it's someone on a sidewalk, your relationship is
your
the person
teacher.
that passed them that smiled at them. Right. First things first, with leading with relationships and you know, Keller Williams, we really kind of align with, and so does the Collins team. That's why I ended up with them, but that's a story for in a minute. You know, God, family, then business. That part of talking about God, that's having a peace within yourself, a solitary moment, and praying and manifesting great things and just blessing others and waiting for those blessings to return, adding no pressure to it, just knowing that things will work out in the best way. So when I went and interviewed Michelle, and I'll talk about that in a bit, she was really incredible with showing me insight and aligning with those values that I had. But so I was in Daytona Beach about 8 years ago, and there was a school for real estate. You could do it in 2 weeks, and it cost $2,200. I didn't have the money at the time, so I passed on it. It had my interest, though. I really wanted to do it. And I must have been about 21 or 22. now I have the opportunity to take the relationships I've made and to give people insight and direction and to educate myself every day on how I can make them the most competitive for offers and how I can make either the buying or the listing side of this fun, friendly, and less competitive on your spirit. It's okay to be competitive in business, but you don't want to stress yourself out and ruin the situation, you know?
And certainly the elements of any real estate transaction, even the ones that go smoothly, there can be a lot of trouble, challenges along the way, and you don't need extra stress. Not only that, when people are thinking about moving,
and we've also got movers, by the way. We've got a referral sheet of great movers, but that's besides the
team,
point.
right.
Yes, but just moving in itself is a kind of a pain. But unless you're moving into your dream home, and that's what we're here to do. That's what I'm here to do. I'm here to go have a coffee and look at what you're trying to do and what we can accomplish, your wants and needs, and making it happen.
And there's a good point. When the prize, and if in this case it's the dream home, perhaps,
right,
or whatever the prize is, the goal in our life is, if to get there, when the challenges are there, to get there, if the prize is big enough and we want it bad enough, we go through the challenges a lot easier.
That's right.
There's a revelation.
Always looking up. That's I love that. Yeah. And so you find ways to motivate yourself to doing what needs to be done. And it's even the process with the lenders. I understand that's a process and there's paperwork, and especially if you're self-employed, guys, I've gone through it. I know what you're going through with the self-employment stuff. Just
so all
hang
your TV
in there,
stuff,
and
you were an independent.
Oh yeah,
and
I still am. I still have a business that I operate other than real estate, and that I've been fairly successful with. Just hang in there. As a person, I go through experiences just like anybody else, and there are a lot of challenges sometimes to being self-employed with real estate, and I want to give those folks all the confidence in the world that it's easy to get past. Once you upload those bank statements, just take a breath and know everything's going to be okay.
There you go. It's a unique experience to be on a popular TV show or a movie. What did you learn there? Maybe the top two or one lesson that you learned that's applying to business to you right now, because it's a unique experience. Was there something that you learned? Because there you have to. There's a camera right there.
Oh yeah.
You
sometimes 2 or 3 cameras.
2 or 3.
Right there.
You've got to stay focused. You have to stay on task. Know what you're going to say, and of course, like the song goes, act naturally along the way.
That's right. Yeah.
So
and I'm glad you say that, the act naturally part, because a lot of the feedback from me being on the first show was Jordan really is like, he's blown away by this experience. You can see it on his face. He's not faking anything necessarily. I think they amplified who I was on there a little bit by their editing, but I took it as an experience and I wasn't pressuring it. I wasn't trying to get anything from it afterwards. And if you're lucky enough to receive a platform afterwards, it's good to leverage that and use it and to show them who you are and to make a difference and to kind of even almost be a resource for them.
I think there's something that I'm thinking about right now that's very important no matter what you do. And in the real estate world, any kind of relationship, especially one where we're going to spend money, or especially if it's bigger money, or in our love lives, that relationship, we see people, and we may see them on TV. I could think of some of my favorite stars and things, but we kind of judge, I think, instantly a sincerity about someone.
Yes.
And you could kind of see there's a detector that goes off if you see someone not being real, whether they're on TV or not. Maybe they're not doing a good acting job, or maybe that's just how they are. But I think we want to be involved with people in a real estate transaction that we trust and we sense and see sincerity, and it plays out that it becomes real when we have that relationship with them. That's what we like.
Right. And it shows up in your actions, your words, and the outcome. All of those things display your sincerity. And it's funny that how the mix of reality TV plays with how sincere you come off in person. You learn about yourself when you see yourself on camera at different angles with different tones and different scenarios. And it's almost, I'm not fearful to ever come off a certain way to people, but I know how I can come off. So I've tried to take some things back a notch that I didn't like, and learn from it, use it as a resource so I can be a resource to myself and not cause myself a headache, but, cause myself a great deal of relationships, business, and conversations of friendly times that I can always reach out and have. We make phone calls daily, and it's always a great conversation. I never hang up without laughs. I've got great relationships, and I think that's what real estate primarily starts with.
In fact, that's one of the things I recommend when I talk to someone about public speaking. I'm always trying to be a better communicator. And the one thing I say, is record yourself. Even if you're just talking on the phone, if it's just your end, because when you record yourself, you hear yourself and say, did I bring forth the points I wanted to bring forth? Did I do those things too much? Sometimes we do that without knowing. Did I overuse words? So the point is record yourself. Same thing with the camera. And like the golf professional, they record themselves with the video for golf swing. I'm not a golfer, but they see things that they can improve upon, and that's life in every category.
Yeah, I always say you don't want to sound in person when you're speaking to someone like a text message. There are some awful texters out there, and you've got to add some oomph and enthusiasm and some charisma. You want to be tenacious, and you kind of want to give – it depends on – all of our personalities mix differently, and Michelle always talks about Enneagrams, and I'm an Enneagram 8. So I can be –
Okay, now what is that?
Well –
I don't know what that is.
An Enneagram it's a personality test, and it allows you to really understand how you work with people in your office, relationships, people at your church, people anywhere. How to operate around them almost, how to serve them best, and how they can serve you. It really does lend itself in deeper friendships and relationships, especially marriages and all that stuff. So it's funny. I'm an 8, she's an 8. And so we're both kind of like lions,
Where's Jeff?
Essentially.
We're going to meet Jeff here in a minute.
Jeff's a 5.
There you go. Okay.
So we can be very different, and I can go to a 3 or a 9, so I can be a peacemaker too. And so it's working with all of this. I'm almost a blend of Jeff and Michelle, and so it's funny. I can totally relate to Jeff, and when I do relate to Jeff, I look over at Michelle and I'm like, is this okay that I'm okay?
You are the perfect addition to the team here for the last couple of months, right?
I think I'm a good addition. I think so, yes.
Well, we're so happy to have you here on the show. Also, before we close this segment, we're going to meet Michelle and Jeff. You've heard about them, everybody. They're coming up right now. In the meantime, though, Jordan, as we close this segment, what else would you like people to know?
I would just like everyone to know that I really committed to real estate in Houston, in the greater area of Houston, because there is such a phenomenal sense of community here. And there's a southern hospitality here in the grocery stores and in the bookshops and everywhere. Even the children on their bikes, they're nice, I was running the other day, and a kid stopped on his bicycle and gave me a thumbs up and said, "Good job, mister."
Way to go.
And that's just incredible. I mean, it's almost
you're
like
right. No.
It really is. Texas really is a true gem. And Houston's real estate market is an anomaly right now. We've got an influx of people coming from out of state, and we are welcoming them. We are so happy to have them. And if they need anything, we deal with referrals, and we can certainly find them a home.
And if someone wants to reach out to you, Jordan Kimball, what should they do?
You can contact me on Instagram, JORDAN__Kimball. And you can also reach me at jordankimball@kw.com via the email. And then the columns will talk about how you can reach out to the team. I'm putting up flyers on Instagram all the time. You can find me on Facebook at Jordan Kimball, Twitter at Jordan__Kimball. I would give my phone number out, but I think that might be a mistake right now. So, I would love to do business with you. And you essentially, if you do, you will get my phone number, but not today.
All right. On that note, Jordan's going to come back later in the show. Thank you so much, Jordan, for being on the show.
Thank you, Bill.